Hey everyone! So it is the beginning of May, which means it is time for the May garden tour. This year has been a little bit frustrating so far. So April was definitely colder than average, and I feel like most of the plants are about 2, maybe even 3 weeks behind where they were last year. We are supposed to start warming up now, so hopefully we kind of stay in the 60 degrees and I can get some of my other plants outside. But on that note, this tour is going to include both outside and inside, since so many of my plants are still waiting to be brought out. But let's go ahead and start with the garden outside. We'll start off with my favorite area, which is this front center bed. So I have these 2 center containers, which both have tulips that I got from Home Depot. So those are the first ones that sprouted, and they're just surrounded by some pansies. Then on either side of those, I have the 2 container delphiniums that I overwintered just out here last year. Those have done really well. There's a few violas around there. And then if we come up here in this raised bed, the tulips are sprouting and blooming, which is really exciting. I know because of the weather, again, it's been colder on average, but also we've had a lot of up and down, that a lot of people in the area have had tulips that are stunted or just haven't really performed well. So I am thankful that these at least look so beautiful, and I will be doing a full tulip tour going over the varieties, how I planted them, what I learned, and what I'm going to do differently next year. But I really have loved having these blooms early in the garden. This is the first time I've really planted bulbs to have spring blooms, and it's just made me very, very happy. But all of my tulips that I planted are actually from Spring Hill, so these, and these. So that is what's happening up here in the front. Coming along, let's go over here to the little table. I have a very sad looking pot of some more pansies, which again just haven't been doing very well, but I'm still going to keep them there until the weather gets too warm. And then I'm not really sure what else I'm going to put in here for the summer, but it might be a little bit too big for this table when I'm actually using it, so it might go over on my flower cart. Swinging around here, you'll have just seen this in a recent video. This is my herb garden. So this is what is able to stay outside right now. We're kind of in the 50s, dipping into the 40s at night. These herbs are happy enough with that, but things like my basil and my mint, those are still inside coming out when I feel like the weather is going to cooperate for those plants. Down here I have my 2 lavender that I'm gonna pot up where these tulips are. I have my regular lavender here that's staying in this garden, dill, lemongrass, lemon balm, oregano, and rosemary. Down here I still have this pot of flowers, which I always forget the name of, and I don't know if I kept the tag in here. Did I? No, of course not, because that would be too responsible of me. But again, it's just nice to have some color this early in the garden. Over here is my little berry patch area. So I have 3 containers of strawberries. Now these did have some green growing maybe a couple weeks ago, and then we got more cold weather, and it seems like they kind of halted where they were growing. So I'm hoping, I'm going to leave them here. I am hoping that they continue to grow once Mother Nature makes it warm enough, and if not, I did pick up 2 other strawberry plants just in case. Then over here I have my raspberry, my blueberry. Both of these I planted in fall of 2020 and I've just left them outside over winter in these exact spots, and they come back. Then here I have my dwarf blueberry that I just planted a few weeks ago, and I'll get closer in just a second, but the leaves are starting to change color, which typically happens in the fall because again the weather was warm and they got cold and back and forth. So I'm hoping again when it gets consistently warm, those leaves will go back to green. Back here I have my rose tree surrounded by just a mix of spring flowers. This grow bag is empty, and then this container is empty as well, but I will be filling those up very soon. Here's a little close-up of those leaves. And then in this bed here I have more tulips. So this was a mixed variety. I think there were maybe 6 different tulip varieties, and I planted them all so that each type was in its own section. So these are the first ones to bloom. There's something emperor something, I can't remember the name, and then all of these are just starting to bloom as well. Back behind the center raised bed I have my 2 rhubarb plants, which again I overwintered. This is year 2 for them. My aronia berry bush. Swinging over here, these 3 30-gallon grow bags are empty. I'm gonna have, I think, zinnias and a tomato plant in here. Then I have 3 hydrangeas and 1 grape plant. The grape plant is budding up. There's some buds on these 2 hydrangeas. This is the one that I mentioned got a bunch of water dumped on it, and I did cut into a branch and it still looked green on the inside, so I'm hoping it'll come back, but we shall see. This is the raised bed where I have no recollection of planting tulips, but I did, so I have no idea what they are, but hopefully we'll see what they look like soon. Then along this back wall here, I have beets in this raised bed and bag, radishes in these 2 bags. This is the longest it's ever taken for my radishes and beets to grow, again because of the weather. I asked other people and they're all seeing the same thing in this area, so hopefully I have some beets and radishes soon. Then swinging back to the side of the house, still getting this area together, but I think I'm going to keep hose here, the 2 flower boxes here with morning glories trailing up the trellis. There's the inside, which we'll say hi to those plants in a bit. And then over here, the section that I'm still trying to pretty up a bit, the pot of tulips that may or may not be dead, 3 pots I have to empty out. And then I'm just kind of keeping other random stuff on this flower cart for now. I have 2 plants that I got for painting the little seed library. I'm excited for these. This is poppies, and then this is something like Bee's Friend. What is the name of it? Yeah, Bee's Friend. But they're both from Floret, and I've never grown anything from Floret before, so I'm excited. Then my trash can, potting soil, compost, and broom. We are inside now, and I will show you the plants that I've started inside, which I will hopefully be moving outside pretty soon. So I figured I'd include this in the garden tour since they will be part of the garden eventually. I have my dahlias here, just in front of the windows that go out to the garden. There are 5 here. There's 1 still in the shower that hasn't broken through yet. So basically I'm keeping things in a shower until they actually poke through the soil. Then when they need some sunlight, I am moving them out here. And I try to keep this door clean because this is the one I use to go in and out. But sometimes there's just everything stacked up here and I kind of have to maneuver my way outside. Then I have this happening over here, my lemon tree, morning glory that I might move outside. My plan was to grow it inside, we'll see. And then the rest of my herbs that like it a little bit warmer, so are waiting to be moved outside. And then some seedlings that I potted up as well. So that's gonna be everything for this video. I just really hope, like I'm sure most gardeners in the area do, that it warms up soon enough that we can get everything outside and really start to see things take off. That usually is what happens, you know, kind of mid to end of May going into June. If you want to see the previous garden tour, I do have one in April. And then what I've been doing that I find really fun is going back to like the previous year's same month. So May of 2021, looking at that one, comparing it to May of this year. There's more in my garden this May than last May, but you can tell, especially by looking at the trees on the other side of the garden wall, how much further along all the plants were last year. So check those out if you're interested. I'll leave them below. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.